WisdomWolf back! We are back, man. We've got 6 most disturbing mysteries solved with Google Maps. Let's check it out. Let's see what they got for us today, man. Hey!
At around 1 p.m. on November 2nd, 2020, an 83-year-old mother of 4 named Paulette Landriax mysteriously disappeared from her home in Anden, Belgium. At the time, her husband was hanging the laundry up to dry in the garden and didn't notice she was gone until later that afternoon. When Paulette's family realized she was missing, they reported the disappearance to the police, triggering a pretty big search for the missing woman. Though this wasn't the first time Paulette disappeared, as she reportedly suffered from Alzheimer's disease and would frequently leave the house at random times of the day and night without telling her husband where she was going. She was known to randomly knock on the neighbors' doors for no apparent reason, and in the years leading up to her disappearance, she no longer recognized her children or her husband. Every other time she had disappeared, her husband would find her a few feet away from the house and bring her back inside. But this time, she was nowhere to be found. During the search, 50 police officers and several search and rescue dogs were deployed to the area, along with multiple thermal vision helicopters and an entire fleet of drones. But even with all these resources at their
That city must be rich, bro. Look at how much resources they dispatched to look for an 80-year-old woman, bro. What the hell? And they can't catch a couple of criminals. That's mad.
During the search, 50 police officers and several search and rescue dogs were deployed to the area, along with multiple thermal vision helicopters and an entire fleet of drones.
Thermal vision helicopters? I didn't even know we had those.
But even with all these resources at their disposal, the local police department failed to find any relevant clues leading to Paulette. After several weeks, the search was called off, and the family assumed that she had fallen into the Meuse River, which ran near her home. In October of 2022, just as the police department was about to close the file, one investigator was searching for Paulette's house on Google Street View and found something shocking. There, as luck would have it, he found a Street View image of Paulette leaving her home and crossing the street to her neighbor's house. The case was immediately reopened, and police were once again deployed to the area, where they found the body of Paulette lying at the bottom of a hill directly below the neighbor's garden. After the autopsy was performed, it was determined that the woman had fallen from an unenclosed section of the garden and died shortly after. Her final moments eerily being caught by the passing Google Street View car as she walks to her death, likely in another wave of confused state caused by her Alzheimer's disease. One thing that's hard to understand is how the police failed to see her with their drones and helicopters.
Do you get? They got 50 police officers. They got 50 dogs. Police dogs. We don't got those in Nigeria, but they got 50 police dogs. They got thermal vision helicopters. This sounds so cool, but they couldn't see she was lying in a ditch somewhere. Come on, bro.
The first time, but at least now the family can find closure knowing what happened to Paulette, even if it comes with this eerie last image of her ever being seen alive.
Rest in peace,
if you visit the location on Google Maps today, you'll find the image has been overwritten by a more up-to-date view of the town. In July 2011, 2 armed individuals broke into an empty house in an otherwise peaceful suburb of Oklahoma City. With a house full of valuables for them to steal and nobody there to stop them, the 2 got to work. But unfortunately for them, the looting spree was much more short-lived than they had hoped. A few minutes later, the homeowner returned and walked in on the 2 of them looting her house. But instead of fleeing with the valuables they had already stolen, they held her at gunpoint as they continued to ransack her home. This went on for over an hour, and during the traumatizing incident, the woman recalled thinking they were going to shoot her before leaving. Fortunately, the robbers eventually left the house without physically harming the woman. After the armed robbery, she refused to reveal her identity to the press out of fear that the thieves would retaliate. The woman later reported the incident to the cops, but with no witnesses and an absence of solid leads, the case eventually went cold, and the woman lost hope that the 2 criminals would ever be found.
Wait, isn't she a witness? Oh wait, did they say their faces were covered up? If their faces were covered... Bro, that's how people can literally rob you at gunpoint and you wouldn't be able to catch them. Bro, that is...
However, 3 years later, the case took an unexpected turn.
3 years?
On a day in July 2014, the woman's neighbor was looking at her street using Google Maps Street View when she noticed an image of 2 men casually strolling down the street who perfectly matched the description the victim had given her of the criminals. Immediately, she texted the woman, who confirmed that the 2 men captured by the Street View van that happened to be mapping out the neighborhood on the day of the robbery were indeed the same 2 men who had robbed her. Based on the direction they were walking, it seems that the image was captured in the minutes leading up to the crime. Unfortunately, because the two men's faces are obscured by the grainy quality of the image and Google's software that automatically blurs pedestrians, the cops haven't been able to track the men down. But with
We can see galaxies into the sky, but we cannot map the road clearly. Gotcha. Gotcha. I mean, can they override their faces? Can they do some whooshy muchi with their laptops and their gadgets and their coding and their CS degrees to, like, come on, bro, like, look at the criminals. They're right there. We got their body features, we got the shirts they're wearing, the shoes. They look homeless as hell. We can find these people, but for some weird reason we can't, because they used a Nokia phone to snap the streets.
With a string of clues and a picture to add to their search, police now have a much better chance of catching the two thanks to Google Maps.
Better chance.
One
Really,
night in
nigga?
October 2006, a 72-year-old man named David Lee Niles met up with a friend at Jake's Bar in Byrontown, Michigan. This was a place that David visited frequently and usually stayed there for at least a couple of hours, but on that particular evening, the story was very different. Earlier that year, David had been diagnosed with cancer, and after a brief conversation with his friend, he left abruptly, claiming that he was in a lot of physical pain due to the cancer. That was the last time anyone ever saw him. When his family failed to get in touch with him, they reported him missing to the police, leading to a statewide search that ultimately led nowhere, as the cops couldn't find any clues as to where David could have gone.
That's messed up.
In 2011, 5 years after his disappearance, his family lost hope and accepted the idea that David was gone. The obituary they published online read, "David Lee Niles, age 72 of Wyoming, passed away and only God knows the time and place." The case went completely cold until almost a decade later, when a new twist shed light on David's disappearance. One morning in November 2015, Brian Hausman, an employee of the Cook Funeral Home in Byron County, was decorating the company Christmas tree outside. When he got to the top of the tree on his lift to put up the star, he noticed something in the adjacent pond that looked like a submerged car. Immediately, he called the police, and using Google Maps from a bird's eye view, they were able to see the same outline that was described. A dive team was deployed to the area, who confirmed that there was in fact a car at the bottom of the pond. Later that morning, a wrecking crew...
What do you mean bird's eye view? I didn't know we could do that. They say using Google Maps from a bird's eye. They are taking pictures that... You see what I was talking about the last video, bro? The last distance. They can literally take pictures from space of the planet. And somehow our UFO sightings are always shit. But we're not talking about that. You know we're not talking about that. But they could see a submerged car in a pond from outer space. But they used the picture they took of those two guys looked like a Nokia 3310.
Same outline that was described.
Sad.
A dive team was deployed to the area, who confirmed that there was in fact a car at the bottom of the pond. Later that morning, a wrecking crew pulled out the vehicle for the police to inspect. Inside the vehicle, the cops found the skeletal remains of a man, along with a wallet belonging to David Lee Niles. After it was confirmed that the skeletal remains were his, David's family members finally found some closure. Still, the case remains a mystery, as it's unknown what exactly happened to him. Even before his cancer diagnosis, David was known to have severe depressive episodes, and things understandably got a lot worse for him after he found out about the illness.
I don't think he did that
With
to
all this
himself.
in mind, it's possible that he took his own life.
I don't think he did
but
that to
we'll
himself.
likely never know
Nah.
for sure.
Nah. I don't think he did that to himself.
In the 80s and 90s, Joako Gamino was one of Italy's most wanted gangsters. He operated within a Sicilian mafia clan in Agrigento that was embroiled in a feud with Cosa Nostra, Sicily's main mafia network. He was first arrested in 1984 for murder and various other mafia-related crimes, but was later released shortly after. In 1998, he was arrested again in Barcelona, only this time he was sentenced to life in prison. After serving 4 years of his prison sentence at a prison in Rome, he managed to escape in 2002 during a commotion at the prison. Following his escape, he immediately relocated to a town near Madrid, Spain, and changed his name to Manuel Mormino. Over the 20 years
God. Why is it so close to his original name?
that he was on the run from the police, he got married, worked as a chef at a restaurant called Manu's Kitchen, and even opened up a fruit and vegetable shop called Manu's Garden. Sicilian police searched everywhere for him for years, and they eventually issued a European arrest warrant back in 2014. After carrying out several investigations, the police suspected that Gamino was hiding somewhere in Spain, but the way they pinpointed his exact location was pretty out of the ordinary. During the investigation, Sicilian police found that Google Maps had captured a street view image of two men talking outside of Manu's garden. One of the men looked extremely similar to the man they were looking for, but the cops only confirmed his identity when they came across a listing for Manu's Kitchen, the restaurant where Gamino worked. While investigating online, the police found a photo of him dressed in chef's attire on the Facebook page for Manu's Kitchen. After confirming his location, the police arrested Joako Gamino on December 17, 2022, and
can we all agree this one was luck? This one was pure. I mean, they were all luck, but this one, like, how the hell? First of all, which police station uses Google Maps to investigate? Because, I'm sorry, but like, you get what I'm saying. This is more luck than the rest.
extradited him to Sicily.
And he made a
He's
mistake,
currently
bro.
serving life in prison.
He shouldn't have put his
According to
picture
the
there.
police, when they arrested him, Gamino was extremely confused and even had the nerve to ask how they found him when he hadn't even called his family in 10 years.
Luck, pure luck, pure luck.
In
bro.
2009, police from Zurich, Switzerland were carrying out an investigation to shut down illegal marijuana growing operations all over the country. At some point in the investigation, they used Google Earth to locate the addresses of two farmers who they suspected of being part of an illegal marijuana operation, and that's when one of the detectives found something interesting. As he was scanning the area on Google Earth, he noticed an unusual change in the pattern of the fields around Rapperswil in the northeastern state of Thurgau. Zooming in, he saw what appeared to be a cannabis plantation that measured more than 2 acres and was hidden inside a cornfield right next to one of the farmers' houses. The Google Earth discovery ultimately led to the arrest of 16 people and the seizure of
wait. I don't understand. Chill. Wait.
to be a cannabis plantation that measured more than 2 acres in the north. Interesting. As he was scanning the area on Google Earth, he noticed an unusual change in the pattern of the fields around Rapperswil in the northeastern state of Thurgau. Zooming in, he saw what appeared to be a cannabis plantation that measured more than 2 acres and was hidden inside a cornfield right next to one of the farmers' houses. The Google
Bruh, what? Hidden inside a cornfield is wow. Wow.
Earth discovery ultimately led to the arrest of 16 people and the seizure of 1.1 metric tons of marijuana, as well as 900,000 Swiss francs in cash, which is the equivalent of around $1.1 million. According to the police report, the drug ring allegedly sold up to 7 tons of marijuana between 2004 and 2008, bringing in from 3 to 10 million francs a year.
I might get into this business. I'm not even gonna lie. I think I will get into this business, bro, because these niggas just scored money I can only dream of right now. they just, what? It can't be that hard to like get in. Can it? Can it be that hard to get into this little situation?
When asked about the breakthrough, the head of Zurich Police's Special Narcotics Unit, Norbert Glossner, said it was an interesting chance discovery.
Bro,
since then, the cannabis plantation has been plowed over as
this
recreational marijuana
smart.
continues to be illegal in Switzerland.
That was actually smart.
This incident happened at a home in Derbyshire, England, where David and Rebecca Soanes lived with their 2 children, Lauren and Ruben. In 2009, the family bought a caravan to travel across the country, but it was unfortunately destroyed shortly after when a joyrider crashed into it. A few months later, they bought a new $15,000 caravan to replace the old one, which they left in their driveway. In June of that year, Rebecca came home one day to find the caravan had disappeared, after which she immediately reported the incident to the police. However, with no solid leads, the cops couldn't really do anything about it, and the case went cold pretty quickly. It wasn't until 9 months later, in March of 2010, that 11-year-old Ruben Soanes found something revealing as he was looking at his house on Google Maps. Using the street view, he found an image of a male intruder on the family's driveway, standing suspiciously outside of his 4x4 vehicle. After a bit of investigating, the family found that the image had been captured by the Google Street View car just moments before the caravan was stolen. Around that time, a neighbor also came forward saying that he had seen the same man towing the caravan on the day of the robbery, but thought that it was a family friend and didn't think it was important to tell the family about it.
Oh, after all this time, you come, hey neighbor, I saw this. I said, nah, bro, I'd clock you. I'd clock you. You saw me losing my mind. You say, oh, your family member didn't take it. You feel me? I know the neighbors. I know they asked the neighbor. They had to have asked the neighbor at some point. Broski didn't deem it important to talk. I'd clock you.
With such a clear image of the suspect, the Sones thought it would be easy for the cops to solve the crime, but it turned out to be much more difficult than expected to get an unblurred image of the 4x4's license plates from Google. Even though the police knew it.
Is Google in on it? The other two guys, they couldn't get them because their faces were blurred. Now you can't get this one because, wait, why can't you get him? You have his face. Don't you guys got like a database or something?
Exactly what the thief looked like. It was never publicly confirmed if they managed to track him down or not.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Look, I say it again. That's crazy. Bro. I'm gone, man. Deuces.